Far away from busy cities and crowded highways, nestled between rolling hills and whispering forests, there was a peaceful little town called Rivermoon. During the day, Rivermoon was cheerful and lively. Farmers worked in golden fields, shopkeepers greeted neighbors with warm smiles, and children ran through the streets chasing each other with laughter that echoed through the air. But when night arrived, Rivermoon changed. The streets became quiet. Lanterns glowed softly outside wooden houses. The river shimmered like silver beneath the moonlight. And one by one, the townspeople fell asleep. Everyone in Rivermoon slept peacefully at night. Everyone except Arlo. Arlo was 12 years old, curious about everything, and known for asking questions that adults often didn't know how to answer. He wondered about the stars. He wondered about the wind. He wondered what secrets the world kept hidden after everyone went to bed. Most nights, while the rest of the town slept, Arlo would sit by his bedroom window watching the moon climb slowly across the sky. He liked the quiet. It felt like the world was holding its breath. But one night, something strange interrupted that silence. A sound drifted across the hills. A long, distant whistle. Arlo froze. It sounded like a train. But that was impossible. There were no train tracks anywhere near Rivermoon. Yet the whistle echoed again. Low, mysterious, almost magical. Arlo leaned closer to the window, and that's when he saw it. Far beyond the dark hills, a glowing line of golden lights moved slowly through the night. It looked like a train, but the lights shimmered like stars. Mist swirled around them like drifting clouds. The train seemed to float across the landscape rather than follow tracks. Arlo rubbed his eyes. When he looked again, the train had vanished. The whistle faded into the wind, and the night returned to silence. The next morning, Arlo tried to explain what he had seen. "A glowing train?" his mother said gently, smiling as she poured tea. "You must have been dreaming." "I wasn't asleep," Arlo insisted. His father laughed softly. "Well then, maybe the stars decided to go for a ride." But Arlo knew what he had seen, and that night he waited by the window again. The town grew quiet. The moon climbed into the sky, and just as the clock struck midnight, the whistle returned. Arlo's heart jumped. He rushed to the window, and there it was again, the glowing train. This time it seemed closer. Its golden windows shone like tiny suns in the darkness. The mist around it shimmered with colors Arlo had never seen before. The train moved slowly across the hills, and then disappeared once more. But this time, Arlo made a decision. Tomorrow night, he would follow it. The following evening, Arlo prepared carefully. He waited until his parents had gone to sleep. Then he slipped quietly out of bed. The night air felt cool and fresh as he stepped outside. Crickets chirped softly in the grass. The town lay silent beneath the moonlight. Arlo walked through the empty streets, past the bakery, past the quiet town square, and out into the open fields beyond Rivermoon. He climbed a small hill overlooking the valley, and there, way in at the top, was something that had never been there before. A train station. Arlo stared in disbelief. A wooden platform stretched across the hilltop. Old lanterns hung from tall posts, glowing softly in the darkness. A sign creaked gently in the breeze. Arlo stepped closer and read the words carved into the wood. Midnight Dreamline. His heart pounded. Just then, the distant whistle echoed again, and from the mist below the hill, the glowing train appeared. The train rolled silently toward the platform, but something about it was different from ordinary trains. Its wheels hovered just above the ground. Soft clouds of silver mist swirled around them. Golden patterns glowed along the sides of the carriages, shifting and moving like living constellations. The train slowed, then stopped. The doors opened with a quiet hiss. Warm golden light spilled out onto the platform, but no one stepped off. No conductor appeared, no voice called out. The train simply waited. For a long moment, Arlo stood frozen. Every sensible thought told him to go home, but curiosity whispered something stronger. Slowly, carefully, Arlo stepped onto the train. The doors closed behind him. Inside, the air felt warm and peaceful. Rows of soft seats stretched down the carriage. Small glowing lanterns floated gently above each row. Outside the windows, the world began to blur. The hilltop vanished. The town disappeared. The stars themselves seemed to swirl. The train was moving, but it wasn't traveling across the land. It was traveling somewhere else entirely, somewhere beyond the waking world. And Arlo was about to discover where. The train moved smoothly through swirling clouds of color. Outside the windows, Arlo saw shapes forming and dissolving like paint floating in water. Blues blended into gold, purple melted into silver. It felt as if the train were traveling through the inside of a dream itself. Arlo pressed his face close to the window. "Where is this train going?" he whispered. As if answering him, the train slowly began to slow down. A gentle bell chimed somewhere in the distance. The train stopped. The doors slid open. Warm wind drifted inside the carriage. Arlo stepped out carefully and gasped. He was standing on a platform floating high in the sky. Below him stretched endless clouds glowing softly with golden light. Above him rose a magnificent city made entirely of clouds. Tall towers floated gently in the air. Bridges of mist connected them like delicate threads. Soft, glowing birds flew between the buildings, leaving trails of sparkling light behind them. Children were laughing as they jumped from one cloud to another. Some floated in the air as if gravity had forgotten them. Arlo looked around in wonder. "Is this a dream?" he whispered. A voice answered him. "Yes." Arlo turned and saw a girl standing nearby. She looked about his age. Her hair shimmered slightly, like moonlight touching water. "Welcome," she said with a friendly smile. "You've arrived at the City of First Dreams." The girl introduced herself as Luma. She explained that the City of First Dreams was where many dreams began. Every time a child imagines something wonderful for the very first time, Luma said, a new dream appears here. Arlo watched as a group of small, glowing creatures floated past them, like jellyfish made of light. "What are those?" he asked. "Those are newborn dreams, ideas that children imagine before they even fall asleep." Arlo followed her across a cloud bridge. Everywhere he looked, something magical was happening. In one tower, artists painted entire dream landscapes that later appeared in people's sleep. In another building, musicians created melodies that would become lullabies drifting into bedrooms across the world. It was beautiful, peaceful, endlessly creative. "But why did the train bring me here?" Arlo asked. Luma tilted her head thoughtfully. "The train appears to people who are still able to see dreams clearly," she said. "Most people stop noticing dreams when they grow older, but you didn't." Arlo thought about that. He had always loved imagining things, exploring ideas, asking questions. Maybe that was why the train had come for him. Just then, a distant whistle echoed through the sky. Luma smiled. That means the train is leaving. Arlo felt a sudden wave of disappointment. Will I ever come back? Luma pointed toward the glowing train. That depends on whether you keep believing in dreams. Arlo climbed back aboard the train, and the doors closed once more. The train began moving again. This time, the swirling dream colors outside the windows grew darker and deeper. Soon, the clouds parted, and Arlo found himself looking at something extraordinary. An ocean, but not a normal ocean. This one stretched across the sky itself. Dark blue waves rolled gently beneath a sky filled with glowing stars. But the most amazing part was this. The stars were swimming. They moved through the water like glowing fish. Hundreds of tiny constellations drifted beneath the surface, sparkling softly. The train slowed again. When the doors opened, Arlo stepped onto a floating dock made of glowing crystal. A huge creature rose slowly from the water. It looked like a whale made of starlight. Its body shimmered with thousands of tiny lights. The whale spoke in a deep, gentle voice. "Welcome to the ocean of sleeping stars." Arlo stared in amazement. What is this place? The star whale's glowing eyes blinked slowly. This ocean holds the dreams people forget when they wake up. Every morning, many dreams fade from memory. When that happens, they drift here like stars falling into the sea. Arlo watched the glowing fish swim beneath the water. Each one shimmered with soft colors. "So every one of those is a dream?" he asked. "Yes," the whale replied, "and they are precious." Arlo stayed for a while, watching the glowing ocean, but eventually the train whistle sounded again. The doors opened, and Arlo returned to the carriage. As the train began moving again, something felt different. The swirling dream colors outside the window were dimmer now. The golden glow had faded slightly, and far in the distance, Arlo noticed something strange, a shadow. It stretched across the dream landscape like a storm cloud. The train slowed once more, but when the doors opened this time, the world outside looked very different. Instead of glowing cities or sparkling oceans, Arlo stepped into a quiet valley. The sky looked gray. The trees were colorless. The ground cracked beneath his feet. A small, glowing creature floated towards him. It looked like a tiny lantern with wings. "Are you the traveler?" it asked. Arlo nodded. The creature looked relieved. "Then perhaps there is still hope." "For what?" Arlo asked. The creature turned and pointed toward the horizon. Far away, rising above the valley, stood a tall, dark tower. Its shadow stretched across the fading dream world. "That tower," the creature said quietly, "is where forgotten dreams are being trapped. And if the dreams disappear," the creature's glow flickered sadly, "then the dream worlds will disappear too." Arlo stared at the tower. For the first time since stepping onto the train, he felt a sense of danger, but also something else, responsibility. The train had brought him here for a reason, and he was determined to find out why. The quiet valley felt heavy and still. Unlike the bright dream worlds Arlo had visited before, this place felt tired, almost forgotten. The grass had turned pale and brittle. The trees looked thin and weak, their leaves slowly crumbling into dust. Even the sky seemed dull, like a painting whose colors had slowly faded over time. The tiny glowing creature hovered beside Arlo. "My name is Pico," it said softly. "I am one of the dream keepers." Arlo looked around the valley again. "What happened here?" he asked. Pico's glow flickered sadly. "People in the Viking world are forgetting how to dream. When children grow older, many stop imagining new things. They stop believing in magic, in adventure, in possibilities. And when dreams are forgotten, our worlds begin to fade." Arlo looked toward the distant tower again. The shadow around it seemed to pulse slowly, like a dark heartbeat. "That tower is collecting the forgotten dreams," Pico continued. "If it keeps growing, all the dream worlds will disappear." Arlo took a deep breath. "Then we have to stop it." Arlo and Pico began walking across the valley. The ground cracked softly beneath their feet. Along the path, Arlo saw strange glowing fragments scattered across the ground. "What are these?" he asked. Pico floated down and gently touched one. It glowed faintly for a moment. "These are pieces of dreams that people abandoned." Arlo picked one up. As soon as he touched it, he saw a quick flash of something wonderful. A child flying over mountains, a castle built from clouds, a dragon made of rainbows. Then the vision faded. Arlo felt a strange sadness. "These dreams were beautiful," he said quietly. "Yes, and they were never finished." They continued walking until the tower grew enormous above them. It stretched high into the dark sky, its walls twisting like shadows made solid. A giant door stood at its base. The door slowly creaked open. The air inside the tower was cold. Long, spiraling staircases climbed into the darkness above. But what caught Arlo's attention were the glowing orbs floating everywhere. Hundreds of them, thousands. Each one shimmered faintly with colors trapped inside. "What are these?" Arlo whispered. Pico's voice echoed softly. "These are the forgotten dreams." Arlo walked closer to one of the orbs. Inside it, he saw a child imagining a floating island filled with animals that could talk. Another orb showed a girl dreaming of building machines that could explore the stars. Another contained a boy imagining an endless ocean made of chocolate waves. Each dream flickered weakly, slowly fading. At the top of the tower, something dark pulsed like a living shadow. "That darkness is feeding on the forgotten dreams," Pico explained. "If it grows strong enough, it will consume every dream world." Arlo clenched his fists. "We have to stop it." Arlo walked toward the nearest dream orb. He reached out and gently touched it. The moment his fingers brushed the glowing surface, the dream inside suddenly grew brighter. The floating island returned, the animals began to move again, the colors deepened. Pico gasped, "You're restoring it!" Arlo realized something. These dreams aren't gone, they just need someone to believe in them again. He touched another orb, then another. Each time he did, the dreams inside glowed stronger. Light began spreading through the tower. The dark shadow at the top started to crack. The forgotten dreams were waking up. Thousands of glowing lights filled the tower like a rising sunrise. The darkness roared silently as it began to crumble. And then, with a burst of brilliant light, the shadow shattered completely. Outside the tower, the valley began to change. Color slowly returned to the sky. The trees grew green again. Flowers bloomed across the fields. Dream creatures appeared everywhere, glowing with happiness. The fading world had been saved. Pico hovered happily around Arlo. "You did it! By believing in the dreams again, you freed them." Just then, a familiar whistle echoed through the sky. Arlo turned. The glowing train had returned, waiting patiently on a platform that had appeared beside the tower. As Arlo stepped onto the train, someone was standing inside the carriage, a tall figure wearing a long silver coat and a hat shaped like a glowing lantern. "The dream conductor," Pico whispered. The conductor smiled warmly. "You have done something very important tonight, Arlo." Arlo looked back toward the bright dream valley. "I just helped the dreams remember themselves." The conductor nodded. "And that is exactly what the dream worlds need. Someone who still believes." The train whistle sounded again. It was time to return home. The train began its journey once more. The dream worlds faded behind swirling colors. Soon, the familiar hills of Rivermoon appeared outside the window. The train slowed. The doors opened. Arlo stepped back onto the quiet hilltop. The platform slowly faded away as the train disappeared into the night. By morning, everything looked normal again. The hill was empty. The town woke up as usual. But that night, when Arlo looked out his window, he heard something that made him smile. A distant whistle, soft, mysterious, and full of promise, because Arlo knew something most people didn't. Somewhere beyond the hills, beyond the stars, the train that travels through dreams was still running, and it would always return for those who never stop believing.
Remember this. Dreams are powerful things. They create worlds, inspire courage, and remind us that magic is never truly gone. It only waits for someone brave enough to believe again. Until our next story, sleep peacefully, dream brightly, and never stop imagining. Good night.